social rest is something making a space for relationship that kind of revives you. I think we all know that it's important to invest in any relationship that is that we're being valued and take our concerns seriously. So some of the social deficits, some people may feel, some of us feeling alone, detached from family, or kind of hard to maintain close relationship, or I kind of isolate yourself, or prefer online relationship over face-to-face relationships. Here are a few things that's important for this social rest. Prioritize face-to-face time. I think nowadays it's so hard. I admit I'm also more fall into the online platform because I'm so used to seeing people 2D. I'm sorry, but it's true. And it's kind of hard for me to switch that, thinking, oh, now I can see people 3D. So I think it's something that very important. And invest in relationships. Sometimes we have to be mindful of having the gadget off. And then for some of us who love to talk, we might have to listen more than, talk less. There are a few things that I've tried in my family, and I find it's very helpful, is to prioritize something important in my life. And I cannot tell you how fruitful that experience have been. This is a schedule that I was given. Remember, I told you the episode when I was in seminary, I got into depression. That was the time God kind of wake me up and saying, hey, your life is more than just studying and relying on your own strength. So this is some of the things that I do value. There's some of the important relationship that I will put them into categories, and I will schedule time for it. God time, my marriage time, family time, exercise time, work time, rest time, play time. So I have a time for everything. And I find that it really helps me to prioritize my life that way, because otherwise it's so easy when things get busy, you can just so easily just, working, and ignore some of the very important relationships like a family, a marriage, our own health, exercise time. So it's important to, I find, maybe an exercise for you, that you would also plan something like this. May not be exactly the same, but think about what are some of the important relationships in your life right now. Ask God, how should I prioritize those relationships on a weekly basis? So this is my weekly schedule. So now we talked about relationship, social rest, invest in relationship. Last but not least, sensory. Yes. So when our brain is overwhelmed with too many noises and we cannot function. So we talk about 5 senses, right? Our smells, our light, sounds, smell, taste bud, and touch. So if we fall into one of these categories that we're constantly really overwhelmed by these touches or senses, that might be wise for us to have one day to be away from this one of these sensories that you've been kind of bombarding you. So one thing I find it very helpful is to look away, especially if you work on computer for a long time, 20 minutes, and then you look 20. So 20 seconds away, and then look for 20 feet somewhere very far. Okay. Or other things that I do is to try to unplug myself from the technology. I told you before. I find it's very helpful. And I don't know, you notice these days when you go out to the restaurants, the family, everyone is on their phone. So something that is very important, that when we spend a family time together, how does your usage of phones or your computer kind of affect your relationship with the people around you? Let's think for a minute. I think this is a very important, and in our era, is something very, very important. So it's to unplug and be present. Unplug and be present. I hope that this is something we would consider doing, is when we are with families, that in our family, we have a rules when we are together, eating a meal together, no one is allowed touching their phones or bringing the iPads or gadgets on the table. So this is the 7 rests that we have just talked about. Sensory rest, physical rest, creative rest, spiritual rest, mental rest, social rest, and emotional rest. And I want you to think about, how can you apply just one thing that you can think about. What is one thing that you can apply this coming week? I'll give you 1 minute to write down what is one rest that you can apply in the next next week. All right, thank you. So here we are. Rest is invite every burnout, worn out, tired individual to discover their life's splendor and see the goodness and enjoyment in work. And failure to see goodness leads to an endless cycle of dissatisfactions. And I love to share with you this last but not least, rest restore your body, your mind, and your spirit, and you begin to experience the secret of the well-rested life. This is a bee. A bee, if you know, they actually work very hard, right? We love being a bee, right? Being called being a bee. But if you have not noticed, actually the bee, they die during their work. A bee died during the work. Okay, so I don't want any one of us just forget about living and forget to rest. And we're like the bee working, and then we die in the work. So hope today, this 7 ways of resting give you a new insight of how can we rest more productively for productive work. So we rest so we can be more productive. Last but not least, I want to mention to you because I will send it to you afterwards. One of my passion is I hope we can provide free training for women. At our school, we have a partners in ministry program, and I believe so much in investing in ministry wives. So if God touch your heart, we don't charge anything for this workshop, but this is something that I personally want to fundraising for our school is to invest, to provide scholarship for ministry wives to come to our school for free tuition. So if this is something that, you know, today God prompted in your heart that you also want to invest in other women, I hope that you will take consideration of doing that, and I will send it to you in an email afterwards. So last but not least, I hope everyone can quickly help me to fill out this evaluation form. I'm going to sorry. Last few announcements before you go. If you would like to know future workshop, do go to our Facebook page because that you will be informed for future workshops. So do go to our Sisters in Ministry Toolbox page and like it so you can follow us. And then in future workshops, you'll be notified. This is my email. You want to keep in touch with me. And the following workshops coming up, September 11, which is a facilitation workshop, online facilitation workshop. This is on Saturday afternoon. It will be a very helpful workshop for people who want to lead and engaging small groups. So feel free to invite your church, the ladies in your church to join us, small groups. And then the spiritual pathway workshops will be rerun again, which is in September 30th on a Thursday night, 7:30 to 9:30. And then the other one that I want to show you, which is in November, this is the Styling 101 for busy mom or women. Okay, this is a fun workshop. It's an evangelistic workshop. Okay, so please bring your working friends to come if you have non-believers. This is a gospel sharing workshop. We will talk about fashion tips on how to dress ourselves. It's not even fashion tips. It's like, how can we dress ourselves nicely, right? It's some of the tips that we can do. We can all relate to that. But at the end, we will be sharing the gospel message. So it's not just the makeover on appearance, but it's the makeover in Jesus Christ. So this is the workshop. If your friends are interested, and here are some of the I've sent it to you already, which is the daytime workshops.